For 40 years, you did everything right. You saved, you invested, you maxed out your RRSP contributions every single year. You built a nest egg, maybe $1 million, maybe more. Congratulations. Now, the Canada Revenue Agency is waiting at the finish line with a tax bill that could vaporize nearly half of it. This is the tax time bomb hiding inside almost every Canadian retirement plan. Most people don't hear it ticking until it's too late, but today, I'm going to show you exactly how to defuse it. I'm going to give you the playbook. We'll break down why this bomb exists, the 2 specific defusal strategies you can use starting today, and exactly how to know which one is right for you. By the end of this, you won't just have a plan, you'll have control. Hey, quick heads up before we get started. There are 3 reports linked below. Your real estate agent probably doesn't want you to read them, because each one might tell you to walk away from a deal, which means they don't get paid. Buying a home? The buyer's purchase analysis is for you. It checks if you can actually afford the place using the same math the bank uses. It also looks at similar homes nearby, including ones that never sold and got quietly taken off the market. At the end, it gives you one of 3 verdicts: strong buy, take your time, or walk away. If another home on your street tried to sell for the same price 6 months ago and nobody bought it, you'll know that before you make an offer. If the numbers don't add up, the report straight up tells you, don't try to negotiate, just pass. Thinking about selling? Read the pre-listing report before you call any agent. It shows you what your home is actually worth, tells you the lowest price you should ever accept, something your agent will never tell you, and gives you 3 different pricing plans, each one showing how much you'd make and how long it would take to sell. Already have your home listed but nothing's happening? The listing diagnostic is for you. It figures out why people look at your home but don't make offers, and gives you a step-by-step plan for dropping your price the smart way, with exact timing for each step. Read all 3 before you sign anything. Links are below. All right, let's get into the anatomy of this time bomb. We've all been sold the same story about the RRSP. It's simple. It's brilliant. You get a tax deduction today when you're in a high tax bracket. The money grows tax-free for decades, and you only pay tax on it in retirement when you're in a lower bracket. It sounds perfect. It's also a dangerous half-truth. The problem is that final step, when you're in a lower bracket. That's a huge assumption. For diligent savers, it's often flat-out wrong. Think about it. In retirement, you'll have Canada Pension Plan payments, you'll have old age security payments, maybe you have a company pension, and then, at age 72, the government forces you to start withdrawing a minimum percentage from your RRIF, which is just what your RRSP becomes. Let's run some quick numbers. Imagine you have $1 million RRSP. At 72, you're forced to take out over 5.4%, or $54,000. Add on, say, $20,000 from CPP and OAS. Suddenly, you have an income of $74,000. You're not in some mythical low tax bracket anymore. You're solidly in the middle class, paying a significant chunk in taxes. But that's not even the real trigger for the bomb. The real danger is something called the OAS Clawback. It's one of the most brutal stealth taxes in the Canadian system. For 2024, if your net income goes above about $91,000, the government starts taking back your old age security payments. For every dollar you earn over that line, they claw back 15 cents of your OAS. This creates a terrifying mathematical trap. Let's say your income is high enough that you're in a 40% marginal tax bracket. When you earn $1 more from your RRIF, you pay 40 cents in income tax. But if that dollar is also above the OAS threshold, you lose another 15 cents to the clawback. Your effective marginal tax rate on that dollar isn't 40%, it's 55%. You are keeping less than half of your own retirement savings. You did everything you were told. You saved diligently, and your reward is a 55% tax rate. That's the time bomb. You were taught to focus on tax deferral, on pushing the tax bill as far into the future as possible. But the wealthy know the real game isn't tax deferral, it's tax smoothing. It's about managing your income over your entire lifetime to pay the least amount of tax possible, not just delaying the inevitable. So how do we do that? We need to defuse the bomb before it goes off at age 72. There are two primary strategies for this. The first is what I call the Pre-emptive Strike. The second is the RRSP Meltdown. Let's start with the Pre-emptive Strike. This is for people who are in their late 50s or early 60s, maybe winding down their careers or in a lower income year for some reason. The conventional wisdom says never touch your RRSP until you absolutely have to. The Pre-emptive Strike says the exact opposite. It says you should strategically withdraw money from your RRSP before you start collecting CPP and OAS. I know what some of you are thinking. That's insane. Why would I voluntarily pay tax today on money I don't need until later? Because the tax you pay today could be dramatically lower than the tax you'll be forced to pay tomorrow. Picture this. You're 62. You've just retired, but you've decided to wait until 65 to start CPP and OAS to get a higher payout. This creates a 3-year window where your income might be very low. This is your golden opportunity. In this window, you can withdraw, say, $25,000 from your RRSP. Because your other income is zero, that $25K might only be taxed at a combined federal and provincial rate of 20%. You pay $5,000 in tax and pocket $20,000. Now compare that to waiting until you're 75. That same $25,000 is now being withdrawn on top of your full CPP, your full OAS, and your other mandatory RRIF withdrawals. That income is now getting taxed at a marginal rate of 40%, or even that dreaded 55% if it pushes you into the OAS clawback zone. The tax bill on that same $25,000 is now $10,000, or even $750. By taking the money out early, you just saved yourself thousands of dollars in taxes on the exact same amount of money. You are smoothing out your income. You are intentionally filling up the lower tax brackets in your low-income years, instead of letting the government force you into the highest tax brackets in your high-income years. It's about taking control of the timeline. Don't let the CRA dictate the terms, you dictate them. The second strategy is more advanced, but it's incredibly powerful. I call it the RRSP Meltdown. This is for people who have both a large RRSP and a healthy non-registered investment account. The goal here is to systematically convert your fully taxable RRSP money into far more tax-efficient money. Here's how it works, step by step. Step 1. You strategically withdraw a set amount from your RRSP, just like in the first strategy, and you pay the income tax on it. Let's say you withdraw $40,000 and after tax, you have $30,000 left. Step 2, and this is the critical part. You immediately take that after-tax $30,000 and you contribute it to your tax-free savings account. If your TFSA is already maxed out, you contribute it to your non-registered investment account. Now, you might be thinking, what's the point? I just took money out of one investment account and put it into another one. It seems like I just lost $10,000 to tax for no reason. But you haven't. You've performed a kind of financial alchemy. You have transformed money that was 100% taxable in the future into money that is now 100% tax-free for the rest of your life. Every dollar of growth that $30,000 generates inside the TFSA is yours to keep, forever. The government can never touch it. Compare that to the $40,000 you left in the RRSP. Every dollar of growth it generated was just adding to your future tax bill. The government effectively owned a piece of your earnings. With the meltdown, you prepay the tax at a controlled, lower rate, and then you slam the door shut in the CRA's face. If you use a non-registered account, the effect is similar. The money grows and is eventually taxed as a capital gain, where only 50% of the gain is taxable. That's still a massive improvement over RRSP withdrawals, which are 100% taxable as regular income. You're moving your money from a bad tax environment to a good one. It's like moving a plant from a dark closet into a sunny window. It's the same plant, but its future growth potential is completely different. Let's put this all together and look at the payoff. Let's imagine two identical couples, the Smiths and the Joneses. Both are 65, both have a $1 million RRSP, and both will have about $25,000 a year from CPP and OAS combined starting at age 70. The Smiths follow the conventional wisdom. They don't touch their RRSP. It grows to about $1.2 million by the time they turn 72. At that point, they are forced to withdraw about $65,000 a year. Add their CPP and OAS, and their total household income is $90,000. They're right on the edge of the OAS clawback. As their RRIF withdrawals increase with age, they will sail right past that threshold, and that 55% effective tax rate will kick in. Over their retirement, they'll pay hundreds of thousands in taxes and lose a significant chunk of their OAS. Now, look at the Joneses. They're the smart ones. At age 65, they started the RRSP Meltdown. For 5 years, from 65 to 70 when their income was low, they withdrew $50,000 a year from their RRSP. They paid about 25% tax on it and moved the after-tax amount into their TFSAs. Yes, they paid tax early. But look what happens. By the time they turn 72, their RRSP is much smaller, maybe around $800,000. Their mandatory RRIF withdrawal is now only about $43,000. Add their CPP and OAS, and their total income is only $68,000. They are miles below the OAS clawback threshold. They keep 100% of their government benefits. But here's the real magic. They also have a massive 6-figure TFSA portfolio that they can draw from, completely tax-free whenever they want. A new car, a trip to Europe, that money comes out with 0 tax consequences. The Smiths, on the other hand, have to pull that money from their RRIF, and every dollar for that trip could be taxed at 55%. Over a 20-year retirement, the Joneses could end up with well over $200,000 more in after-tax cash in their pockets than the Smiths. Same starting point, same savings. The only difference was the strategy. One couple let the tax bomb go off, the other diffused it. So, you're standing at a fork in the road. You can continue down the path of pure tax deferral, building a bigger and bigger tax problem for your future self, hoping you'll magically be in a low tax bracket. Or you can take control. You can start thinking like the wealthy, focusing on tax smoothing and strategically disarming the bomb while you still have time. The choice is yours. You can either let the government write the rules for your retirement income, or you can pick up a pen and write them yourself. And before you go, here's the deal. We're locked at under 1,000 subscribers right now, and that's the line YouTube uses to decide whether to show your videos to anyone or bury them. If you got real value here today, hit subscribe. We're closer to that number than you think, and every single sub literally moves the algorithm. The moment we cross the line, every video gets sharper, deeper, and faster.